Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. No, I'm just kidding. I would never say that for real. I'm just joking. It's Neil, back once again with another TV show review for you. And today I'm going to be taking a look at Joe versus Carole. Yes, this 8-episode TV show that just premiered the other day here in Canada on Showcase, Chorus Channel. It originally aired on Peacock, I believe on March 3rd in the States. So, yeah, you may have already seen it. This is going to be a spoilerific review of episode 1, so please remember, spoilers, okay? Yeah. Even though, if you've seen the documentary on Netflix, then you know really what's going to happen here, or what's supposed to happen anyway. You know what to expect. But, I also think that, a lot of people that haven't seen the documentary series are not going to watch this show, and if they do, they're not going to like it at all. Quite frankly. So we'll get to that, get back to that in a moment. But let's talk about episode 1 here. So it begins with these two representatives from Fishing and Wildlife who come to the house of Carole Baskin, and her husband Howard, played beautifully by Kate McKinnon and Kyle MacLachlan, respectively. They're wonderful actors, and they do a great job of inhabiting these characters, these real-life characters. So what winds up happening here is that they wind up informing the Baskins that there's a man who's been hired to kill Carole. And as we all know by now, the man that hired that man to kill Carole was Joe Exotic, of course. And we'll find out why that is as the story progresses here. They buy a bunch of guns for protection, and then we get a flashback to 7 years ago, which is how the rest of the episode plays out. So the rest of the episode goes back, as it should, to kind of explain, the relationships here and how they broke down and what the hell just happened, what happened here. But again, if you've seen the documentary, you pretty much already know. So this is all about just, a good adaptation and, a good translation of that story. So, yeah, so 7 years earlier, Carole's running her animal rescue, and Joe Exotic is touring the country with his tiger circus show, basically, his wild animal show. And he's played by John Cameron Mitchell, who is very, very convincing as Joe Exotic. I think he's very impressive, just like McKinnon and MacLachlan. He's equally as good there. And so he's running this big cat show in Iowa, and his star tiger winds up getting sick, and this woman who works for Baskin has her camcorder with her, and she shoots footage of the sick tiger. And then Carole, who is, all about, rescuing cats from bad situations, she's the objectivist, she's got that hero kind of syndrome going on. Good intentions, I'm sure, but she winds up posting the video online showing Joe in a bad light. Joe's all mad, there's a shot of the sick tiger. Oh, everyone's sad for the tiger, naturally. And so this makes Joe look really, really, really bad. And he winds up retaliating by shaming Carole online. And then she retaliates by sending like 24,000 emails to all these people, all the show managers that Joe was planning on doing. And they wind up canceling the shows and ruining his income. Which, like she's really trying to ruin his life, and they both were kind of back and forth. And this is where, the show basically ends, is Joe swearing revenge against Carole. So the question is, will this show offer anything different than from, what we've already seen in the documentary? Those that have seen the doc, they should get a laugh out of this episode, really. They should get a laugh out of this show and think that, these are such great performers, and it is very entertaining. It's definitely not boring at all, even though we know what's going to happen. And that's the question, Are we going to be surprised? Well, we don't know yet. We have to just look at episode 1 for now. So that's what I'm going to do. And, we know what's going to happen to some of these characters, and, all these relationships are already starting to form. And, I'm really eager to see how they deal with Carole's husband's disappearance as well. Is he just literally just going to disappear in one episode and then everyone's like, I don't know where he went? Or are they going to speculate on what happened and show it? Because in the documentary, she's actually accused of feeding him to a tiger. like, why would she do that? I mean, they seem very happy. I don't know. Who knows, right? Who knows what the real truth is? But I don't know. Was it maybe she did it for the insurance? I don't know. Like, why? I just don't get it. I mean, it doesn't really add up. But then again, who knows with these characters? I mean, they're crazy, larger than life characters that are based on real life. So it's interesting to see them kind of portrayed, this way. There was never any proof of her feeding her husband to the tiger, by the way. But you never know. The show could very well explore that. But again, that's just speculation. So, back to just episode 1. One unfortunate criticism I do have that, could hurt the show a bit is that the CGI animals, and yes, all the animals here, as far as I can tell, at least most of them anyway, they're CGI. So when you look at them, you think, wow, the fur looks so real. It looks really good, But then when you look at the eyes, you look at the, especially on a couple of animals, like a sheep, for example, and there's this camel, and like there's a bunch of other weird animals in this show, in Joe's show, and the eyes just look bad. They just look like, nah, that's too. It's kind of the late 90s, early 2000s CGI looking. But, I'm sure they didn't have like $1 billion for this, TV show. They had to, work within whatever budget they had for visual effects. So I think they pull it off okay. But it just winds up just being okay. I think the eyes kind of hurt it, though. Like I said, it kind of takes you out of the whole show just a little bit here. It's too bad they can't use real animals, but I guess that would have been a lot bigger of a hassle, right? I mean, yikes. That's a lot of exotic animals. But, yeah, I mean, so other than that and the predictability, naturally, I mean, those are my main criticisms here. A lot of early buzz from the press and whatnot is that this is just such an unnecessary show trying to capitalize on the popularity of the documentary, and I do kind of have to agree to a certain extent. Again, nobody's going to give a damn about this show anyway, unless they've seen the Netflix doc, unless they've, been along for the ride and they know the story, and they've just been like, oh my god, these people, they're crazy. And yeah, so it's not great, but the cast and the performances certainly are just fantastic. So I am hooked on this. I know it's very lowbrow. It's not high quality entertainment by any means, really. But it is like a car crash. You just got to stop and just take a look and check it out and just see what happens. I want to know what happens with Howard. I want to know what happens with the rest of the story. If they change anything, I'm invested. So despite the fact that it is really pretty trashy, and it does seem to just be capitalizing on the Netflix series, I'm still going to give it a 6 out of 10, because this episode, anyway, it was a lot of fun. And again, this is just reviewing just one episode. I don't know if I'm going to review the rest of the series. I might, but we'll see. I'm definitely going to stick with it, and we'll see where she goes, and what liberties they may take too, or if they're gonna stay as accurate as we believe it to be. So who knows, right? But that's all for me, guys. I just wanted to pump out this quick TV show review for you. And again, this is Neil here. Hope you're all doing well, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.